Hello students, I am Manoj Kundare, the Assistant Professor of Electronic Science. Welcome back to our e-learning platform. In previous video, we have seen the details about the Zener diode. In that video, we have seen the mechanism of the Zener breakdown and the avalanche breakdown. The link of the previous video is available in the description box. Please check it. Now, in this video, we are going to see the concept of the LED or what is meant by the LED. Normally, the LED stands for the light emitting diode. A light emitting diode or LED is a PN junction diode which emits light when the current flows through the diode in forward bias mode. That means the LED is an electronic component in which when it is forward biased then it emits light. Okay, let's see the symbol of the LED. The symbol of the LED is similar to the normal PN junction diode except that it contains arrow pointing away from the diode indicating that the light is being emitted by the diode. This is the symbol of the LED in which these arrows are pointing away from the diode. These arrows points the light emitted by the diode. We know that this is the symbol of the normal PN junction diode, and if we place two arrows over the diode then now this becomes the symbol of the LED. I hope you all understand the basic difference between the symbol of the normal PN junction diode and the symbol of the LED. This is the actual LED is shown in which the long terminal is anode and the short terminal is the cathode. Okay, now let's see the construction of the LED. One of the methods used to construct LED is to deposit three semiconductor layers on the substrate. The three semiconductor layers deposited on the substrate are N-type semiconductor, P-type semiconductor, and the active region. Active region is present in between the N-type and P-type semiconductor layers. That means this is the actual construction of the LED is shown here. The substrate is present and on this substrate the three layers are deposited: N-type material layers, P-type material layers, and in between N-type and P-type materials there is the active region is present. Okay, I hope you all understand the basic construction of the LED. Now let's see what happens in the LED. Okay, when the LED is forward biased, a free electrons from N-type semiconductor and holes from P-type semiconductor are pushed towards the active region. When free electrons from N side and holes from P side recombine with each other in the active region, an invisible or visible light is emitted. In LED, most of the charge carriers recombine at active region. The active region is also called as the depletion region. That means when the LED is forward bias, we know that the connection made in forward bias, that means the P-type material is connected to the positive terminal of the battery and N-type material is connected to the negative terminal of the battery, then the diode is said to be in the forward bias mode. What happens in this forward bias mode? Let's see. The holes in the P-type material and electrons are from the N-type material are comes together at the active region. They recombine here in the active region, and during each recombination the light is emitted from the diode. Okay, the most of the recombination process takes place in the active region. I hope you all understand the basic procedure in light emitting. Okay, now let's see the materials used for the construction of the LED. The semiconductor materials used in the construction of the LED is gallium arsenide GaAs, gallium phosphide GaP, or gallium arsenide phosphide GaAsP. Any of the above mentioned compounds can be used for the construction of the LED, but the color of the radiated light changes with the change in the material. That means the different color of the LED or the different color light of the LED is depends on the material used during the construction of the LED. Let's see some examples here. If we use the materials GaAs combination, then we get infrared light. If we use the GaAsP material during the construction of the LED, we get red light at 1.8 volt and amber light at 2.0 volt. Okay, now let's see this description in brief. When we use gallium arsenide combination, we get infrared light. When we use gallium arsenide phosphide combination, we get red to infrared red light or the orange light. When we use aluminum gallium arsenide phosphide material, then we get high brightness red, orange and yellow light. When we use gallium phosphide combination, we get red, yellow and green light. When we use aluminum gallium phosphide combination, we get green light. Similarly, when we use gallium nitride combination, we get green or emerald green light. When we use the gallium indium nitride combination, we get the ultraviolet light or near ultraviolet light or bluish green and blue light. If the combination of silicon carbide is used, a blue as a substrate is get. If the zinc selenide combination is used, then we get blue light. And if the aluminum gallium nitride combination is used, we get the ultraviolet light. Okay. Now let's see the working of the LED. The light emitting diode or LED works only in the forward bias condition. That means if the LED works only in the forward bias mode, the light emitting diode is forward bias. The free electrons from the N side and holes from the P side are pushed towards the junction. When the free electrons reach the junction or the depletion region, some of free electrons recombine with the holes in the positive ions. In the similar way, holes from the P side recombine with the electrons in the depletion region. Because of the recombination of the free electrons and holes in the depletion region, the width of the depletion region increases. As a result, more charge carriers will cross the p-n junction. The free electrons in the conduction band releases energy in the form of light before they recombine with the holes in the valence band. That means when the LED is forward biased, the holes in the p side and the electrons from the n side are comes across the junction in the depletion region. Here they recombine with each other, and during each recombination a photon or a light is emitted by the LED. Okay, the silicon and germanium diodes, most of the energy released in the form of heat and emitted light is too small. That means when we use the silicon and germanium material in the construction of the LED, then we get a very low intensity of the light. The most of the energy is comes out in the form of heat. Okay, and if in materials like gallium arsenide and gallium phosphide, the emitted photons have sufficient energy to produce the intense visible light. Okay, now let's see the answer of the question. The question is that how LED emits light. Okay, let's see the answer. When the external voltage is applied to the valence electrons, they gain sufficient energy and breaks the bonding with the parent atom. The valence electron which breaks bonding with their parent atom are known as free electrons. That means when the external voltage is applied to the diode, then some valence electrons break bonding with their parent atom and becomes the free electrons. We know that these free electrons constitutes the current. Okay. Next see, when the valence electron left the parent atom, they leave an empty space in the valence shell at which the valence electron left. This empty space in the valence shell is called as hole. That means when the valence electron breaks bonds with the parent atom and becomes free, when they become free, they leave an empty space at their space. This empty space is known as hole. Okay, the energy level of all the valence electron is almost same. Grouping the range of energy levels of all the valence electrons is known as valence band. In the similar way, the energy level of all the free electrons is almost same. Grouping the range of energy levels of all the free electrons is known as the conduction band. That means the range of energies possessed by all the free electrons is known as the conduction band, and the range of energies possessed by all the valence electrons or the holes is known as the valence band. Okay, I hope you all get the basic idea about the valence band and conduction band. The energy level of the free electrons in the conduction band is high compared to the energy level of valence electrons or holes in the valence band. That means the electrons in the conduction band are at higher energy level than the holes in the valence band. Okay. Therefore, free electrons in the conduction band need to lose energy in order to recombine with the holes in the valence band. The free electrons in the conduction band do not stay for long period. After short period, the free electrons lose energy in the form of light and they recombine with the holes in the valence band. Each recombination of the charge carrier will emit some light energy. Okay. The energy loss of the free electrons or the intensity of the emitted light, it depends on the forbidden energy gap or the energy gap between the conduction band and the valence band. The semiconductor device with large forbidden gap emits high intensity of light, whereas the semiconductor device with small forbidden gap emits low intensity of light. That means this all the mechanism is related with the conduction band and valence band. This is the diagram of the process of recombination of electron and hole in the valence band and conduction band. We know that the valence band is the band which occupies the range of energies occupied by the valence electrons or holes, and the range of energies possessed by the conducting electrons or the free electrons is known as conduction band. Here the one thing is clear, that the valence band have the lower energy level while the conduction band have the higher energy level. That is, we can also say that the electrons in the conduction band have higher energy level and the holes in the valence band have the lower energy level. When this electron in the conduction band jumps from valence band to the conduction band jumps from valence band towards the conduction band, then the excess energy is emitted in the form of light or in the form of photon. Okay, I hope you all understand the basic concept of light emitting in the LED. Let's see once again. The electrons in the conduction band have higher energy level and the holes in the valence band have lower energy level. When the electron jumps from conduction band to valence band, they emit their excess energy in the form of light or in the form of photon. Okay, and the light intensity of the emitted light is depends on this gap. This gap is known as the forbidden energy gap. If the forbidden energy gap is more, then the intensity of emitted light is more, and if this gap is short, then the intensity of the emitted light is low. Okay, I hope you all understand the conduction band or the band diagram of the LED. Now let's see the working of the LED in the animation. Here is in this diagram we can clearly see that the p type material and n type material are connected in the forward bias mode. Okay, what happens in this process, the holes from the p side and electrons from the n side are recombined at the junction and they emits a light or an photon. They emits light or an photon. Or more deeply we can see this criteria on this diagram, that the holes have positive charge, electrons have negative charge. When they recombine with each other, then a light is emitted. Okay, a light is emitted. Or we can also show the phenomenon on the other diagram, that when the positive charge and negative charge recombine with each other, then a photon is emitted. Okay, let's see this positive charge recombine with the negative charge and light is emitted. Okay, now let's see output characteristics of the LED. The amount of output light emitted by the LED is directly proportional to the amount of forward current flowing through the LED. More the forward current, the greater is the emitted output light. The graph of the forward current versus output light is shown in this figure. That means when the forward current increases, the output intensity of the light also increases. Okay, now let's see the VI characteristics of the LED. In the VI characteristics, only forward bias mode is shown because we use LED in forward bias mode only. We never use the LED in the reverse bias mode because in reverse bias mode the LED is in its off state. In the forward bias mode, we have seen the different colors here, the infrared light, red light, amber light, etc. This current is obtained by the different combination of the material during the construction of the LED. Depending upon the material, the forward voltage or the new voltage for each diode is different. Okay, I hope you all understand the concepts. Let's see the advantages of the LED. The brightness of the LED, the brightness of light emitted by the LED is depends on the current flowing through the LED. Hence, brightness of the LED can be easily controlled by the varying the current. That means if we vary the current across the LED, then the light intensity emitted by the LED is also varied. This is the advantages of the LED. Light emitting diodes consumes low energy. LEDs are very cheap and readily available. LEDs are light in weight. They have smaller size. LEDs have longer lifetime. LEDs operates very fast. They can be turned on and turned off in very less time or in very short time. LEDs do not contain toxic materials like mercury, which is used in the fluorescent lamp. LEDs can emit different colors of light. There are some disadvantages of LED, such as LEDs need more power to operate than the normal PN junction diodes. The luminous efficiency of the LED is low. Now, let's see some applications of the LED. We know that in our day-to-day life, in various electronic devices, the LEDs are used. Some of the applications are listed here. Let's see them one by one. LEDs are used in the burglar alarm systems, in calculator, in picture phones, in traffic signals, in digital computers, in multimeters, in microprocessors, in digital watches, in automotive heat lamps, in camera flashes, in aviation lighting, and there are many more applications of the LED. We can add the applications of the LED as per our knowledge. That means we know that nowadays the TVs are available in the LED format. Okay, hence we can also give the application of the LED as it is used in the smart TV or in the digital TV. Okay, I hope you all understand the concept of the LED, the working principle of the LED. Thank you.